I'm on a losing streak in League as my elo's being terrorized by criminals left unchecked on Summoner's Rift, so I'm not really in a good mood and I'm not feeling really nice. But I took a breather, and the first thing I see on YouTube's recommended is this puppy right here from Ned Fulmer about him trying to address the backlash to his podcast. This was posted 5 days ago. I don't know why it's getting recommended now. Maybe because I made a video on the podcast like a month or two ago. I don't know how long it's been now. About how it's like one of the most awkward podcasts ever filmed. So now YouTube decided, Charles, we know you've had a bad day, but don't worry, we've got your medicine right here. It's just what the doctor ordered. A nice dog shit apology from Ned. That's not his wife in the bed, Fulmer. Joy. Can't wait.
Hello. I've heard a lot of the commentary and reactions to my podcast episode with Ariel, and I wanted to take this video to address some of them. That episode with Ariel was mostly about her story, and now in this video, I'll tell a little bit more of mine.
Did we watch the same podcast, Ned? You sure about that? Was it really mainly her story? Because it seemed like you were the one kind of guiding the whole conversation, that you were kind of steering the ship here, which is one of the major complaints. Not only was the whole thing a terrible idea from the get-go, bringing in the wife that you cheated on with one of your employees to just kind of talk about it in front of everybody, which is just always going to be weird to hear, just being the fly on the wall for a very uncomfortable conversation like that. But the conversation also went with you in the driver's seat, which feels like the antithesis of what it should have been with letting your wife air out everything. And if it was supposed to be therapeutic for your wife, why wasn't she the one that was kind of in charge to lead this discussion? It was you. Pull off the mask of the villain here for the Scooby-Doo episode. It's Ned Fulmer. Like, it's just, you're not even, like, digesting the comments that you're supposed to be addressing.
There's a lot that we wanted to keep private, but some things I'll touch on today.
Hey, bud, I personally think all of it should have been kept private. You don't owe the internet an explanation for what's going on after your cheating. There's no reason to invite everyone inside for all the dirty laundry and everything behind the scenes. Just keep it private. I think that probably would have been the healthiest thing for all parties involved. That's just my personal opinion on the matter, but I gotta tell you, I think a lot of people shared that sentiment because this is something so personal and so devastating that putting it all out here in the public just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially when it seems like the main purpose of it was to launch your podcast, the fucking rock bottom podcast, whatever garbage that is, which, by the way, nobody's watching, Ned. First episode blew up because nobody could believe that you would actually bring on your ex-wife to discuss you cheating on her with one of your employees. That is just an unhinged idea.
First, I know that it was a very painful and uncomfortable conversation to watch. I know for some of you, it reopened things. For us, it felt like a necessary step to be able to move forward. We knew we would always get these sort of questions in any context online, and it felt like the only way to move forward was just to face it head on.
On a podcast that you're launching? That was really the only way? Look, man, far be it for me to question how Ariel wants to heal and move on from this. That's entirely her decision to make. But if this was a necessary step to try and address things head on, why did it have to be on your podcast that you are launching on the back of this episode that is exploring her feelings on having her whole life devastated from your unfaithfulness? That surely is not the only way. If you wanted to address everything like head on, you know, both feet planted, getting like rough and tough with it, why not just release like a joint statement or something, perhaps, if you needed this to be a public-facing thing in order to move on to, you know, clear the air of everything and rumors and whatever. It didn't need to be in an hour and a half or whatever podcast that you're starting. That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, unless, of course, the actual motivator for it is to try and get back onto YouTube and be able to make money on the platform again. Because he is launching a product with it.
As has been reported in interviews, launching the podcast with a conversation with Ariel was Ariel's idea. She's a stakeholder in the Rock Bottom podcast and this new channel, and she wants it to be successful. So that was part of the reason why, in terms of having that conversation, we did it together rather than on any other platform.
I couldn't possibly know the inner workings of this business partnership. Haven't seen the contracts. All I can say is that feels very odd to me, because this seems like a business partnership strategy that heavily favors Ned. So I don't fully understand that, but I just really think that this is something that didn't need to be shared in this fashion.
After Discovery, I started an intensive program of therapy, group therapy, and work to really try to understand what I had done, why I had done it, and what it meant for my relationship and my life.
That's cool, man. I'm not your therapist, but I feel like the reason you did what you did is because it's something you wanted to do. In the podcast and in here too, he keeps making it seem as though he didn't know that this would be painful for his wife to be fucking one of his employees, which I think is so odd, especially the way he presents that. But he's talking about like his journey to coming to terms and realizing that what he did was bad and realizing that what he did is cheating.
All of these mental clouds that help you continue behavior that you know is hurtful, and you still do it anyways. So it let me face the truth and acknowledge in no uncertain terms that I cheated on my wife with an employee of my business, and it caused her immense pain and shattered our marriage.
Yeah, but was there ever any real uncertainty there to begin with, though, Ned? I feel like even if you had just been lobotomized, you would still be able to recognize that fucking someone that's not your wife is bad. That's textbook cheating, right? Like, this is what I'm saying. The way he presents it is weird. He makes it seem like I had to really understand this was not a good thing. This was, as they say, cheating. It's like, yeah, man, yeah. Like, okay, cool, you're getting help to get to the bottom of this, so hopefully you never do something like this again in the future, but, like, man, like, did you really need to have this huge come-to-Jesus moment that fucking a woman that's not your wife, who is also your employee, by the way, is not good, and is cheating, like, by definition? I don't know, it rubs me the wrong way the way he talks about it. Like, he was just so blind to the fact that this was a painful thing that he was doing to his wife. Like, what he was doing would make her very upset should it ever come to light. You know, it's just, you would know that. You would think, right? Like, he's sentient. I feel like anybody with a functioning frontal lobe would know that that would be very painful for your fucking partner to know and to learn. So for you to do that to them would cause them immense agony. But I guess maybe Ned didn't know that somehow.
So this was a long process that it took, approximately 2 years, and continues work even to this day at the 3-year mark, even though we decided to separate officially 2 years in. It's something that I'm really proud of. That's really changed my life, and I understand that if a viewer is watching this for the first time,
I'll let that thought continue in just a moment there. It is so peculiar that he would say that it's something he's proud of here. He's not talking about like the actual cheating, I don't think, or anything like that. He's talking about him getting like therapy and the help that he needs to recognize that cheating is bad and get to the root cause of why he cheated. But to even say something like that in a video like this is very odd.
Or just sees this 15-second clip on TikTok, you don't understand everything that has led us to this point. And I know that it'll take time. And if you want to just judge me off of one clip of me talking about society, which obviously was not the best response to that situation, I you are welcome to do that. I know that people have a choice when it comes to what they watch and what they consume. And if people don't want to continue engaging with me on the internet, then that's a consequence of my actions and something that I have accepted.
Ned frames this as though the majority of the opinions people formed on him from that podcast are just off of TikTok clips or like 15 seconds out of context snippets of the larger conversation, but that's just not true. Like, sure, there probably are some people that only saw the clips, but the whole conversation is there with over 1 million views. Like, a good chunk of people saw the podcast. I think a lot of people like me couldn't finish the whole thing because of how unbelievably uncomfortable and awkward it was, but it's very understandable for them to form their opinions on you based on the fact that you cheated on your wife, betraying her trust, being unfaithful to her with one of your employees, man. Like, even just seeing some of the clips or just even knowing that, plenty of people are not going to like you for that. It has nothing to do with them only seeing these podcast clips that make you look bad. The whole podcast makes you look bad because what you did is bad. You did a really bad thing, Ned. Now he has the audacity to throw himself like a little pity party here, Oh, man. You have a choice in what you consume, I suppose, so if you're watching these, 15-second clips, these snippets that make me look really bad, I guess that's your choice to make. I've come to terms with it. Like, as if that's the only reason people have a negative opinion of him. Even if it is just those clips, the fact of the matter is you did a bad thing and people aren't going to like you for that. Even if they've only seen clips from that podcast, everyone else who's seen the whole thing is still going to have that same opinion because you look like shit in it. It paints you in a horrible light. Because what you did cannot be painted in a positive light. I don't know why he tries to weasel this here statement in about, people only seeing the clips, the snippets from the conversation, if only they'd hear the whole thing, go along for the whole ride. It doesn't make sense, because clips or whole thing, you are still going to walk away with a bad impression of Ned, regardless. It's just if you watch the longer one, you also have to squirm in your chair because it's so unbelievably awkward to sit through. Anyway, though, most of this is him talking about what he's done to try and grow from it, as a person, become a better person. It's very weird because this is him bringing up his cheating again. It almost feels like he's doing it because he knows it's going to get eyes. It is a very weird thing to do again, to bring up him being a cheater. But, it's getting some views for him, and maybe that's the goal. I don't really get it. But anyway, that's really about it. Yeah.